In a Fox Business exclusive is former National Security Advisor, retired Lieutenant General Michael Flynn. The Ranger tab, Master Parachutes badge, Joint Staff Identification badge. You have served our country with honor, and yet you were targeted. We have handwritten notes from Peter Strzok suggesting that Joe Biden came up with the idea to take you out over a Logan Act. Notes from the 2017 Oval Office meeting indicate that then Vice President Biden mentioned the Logan Act, an 18th century law criminalizing efforts by private citizens to conduct foreign policy.
We all know that this was an effort to get Flynn to get Trump, and that's been made very clear by one particular senior FBI agent who has now put into an affidavit, which is a good word to use right now, and that statement that he made was outrageous. The other thing that, the 2016 campaign, 2016 transition, and then into the White House, this entire effort, and when people say, hey, Mike, I'm sorry for what happened to you, what I tell people is don't feel sorry for me. Feel sorry for this president. Feel sorry for the presidency of this country, and be outraged at what they tried to do to this country. And that's really what this was about. This was about going after a president who won an election, and they, by all rights, they figured out no way is he going to win. So imagine if these people that went after the president, or after President Trump and his presidency and our country, imagine if they had allowed him to just say, hey, let's see what this guy can do. We'd probably be double or triple in every category of economy, our military, everything. And look at what President Trump has been able to do despite the kind of assaults that he's been under. So and we're still facing that right now in this current election. We have an element in our country, some of which is in the institutions of our government, Department of Justice, certainly the FBI, and other elements like the intelligence community that just basically are. And I think most Americans would agree, or many Americans would agree, that there's an anti-American bent inside of some of these institutions, and they just do not want to see our country thrive in the way that I think Donald Trump has been able to do that, despite the assault on him and his ability to lead this country. So imagine the transition of the entire country, the United States of America, and here you have this sort of transition conversation between two incoming and an outgoing president, and they mentioned two people, dear leader Kim Jong-un and General Michael Flynn, as though I'm public enemy number one. So, yeah, one of these days I would like somebody to pin him down and ask him. And he should have been afraid of me, and he still should be afraid of me. And what I would say is that what you mentioned about auditing and digging into, reforming the Pentagon, the intelligence community, the budgets, Devin Nunes has been on top of this for a long time, and I think he's right. I think you played Jim Jordan earlier. He's right. I would just say that going forward, because we're going to have to continue to do some real deep, thorough re-looking at how we operate as a nation within some of these institutions. The institutions don't run this country. They do not run this country. The people run this country, and they do it through their elected officials. And what has happened is we have a bureaucracy in Washington, D.C. that has gotten so bloated, so out of control. And people know me. I mean, anybody that's worked around me, they know me in all organizations I've come up in through the military. It's always been about looking at how, we can basically focus on the real true mission, which is really a constitutional mission at the end of the day, is, supporting and defending the Constitution against all enemies, foreign and domestic. It's that simple. Obama talking about me is outrageous. I will not give him any more time on your show. So thank you for asking that question.
Okay. You look at this White House now, and it's hard to imagine two FBI agents ending up in the same room. How did that happen?
I sent them. Something I probably wouldn't have done or maybe gotten away with in a more organized investigation, a more organized administration, in the George W. Bush administration, for example, or the Obama administration. And in both of those administrations, there was process. And so if the FBI wanted to send agents into the White House itself to interview a senior official, you would work through the White House counsel, and there'd be discussions and approvals and who would be there. And I thought, it's early enough, let's just send a couple guys over.
so first of all, the statement that I would make about that, and when I first saw it, I was just outraged. But, the arrogance that exudes out of Jim Comey in that interview, and frankly, the laughter from the audience, as any American who cares about our country, who cares about our institutions, who cares about our ability to, what I call, breathe the fresh air of liberty, should be disgusted, and we should continue to be disgusted. One of the things that, as you have spoken about many, many times, and it really comes down to accountability. I mean, the people of this country can only wait so long for accountability. And the only people that have been, quote unquote, held accountable are people that seem to be around Donald Trump, and for the wrong reasons, right? So what this country is going to demand, and demands right now, and we haven't seen it out of the justice system. We certainly haven't seen it out of the judiciary, is accountability for one's actions. So people like, Strzok, whatever, Pienka, and many, many others who, Comey is another one, McCabe is another one. All these people, Brennan, you mentioned, all these people, they can't just sit out there and lie to the American people for years on end, which we now know that they did, and have this sort of arrogant, smug look on their faces and get away with it. The American people they're not going to stand for it. And frankly, the media in this country has done a total disservice to itself by enabling these people and their ability to just flatly lie to the American public about what they believe happened. What they believe happened is not what really happened. And now we know. And frankly, through my case and through the great work of Sidney Powell and others who were behind us in helping us get to this level of truth, and there's still more truth to be exposed, that's enlightening for all of us, and thank God we were able to get here. But through my case, we have exposed an underbelly of Washington, D.C. that is grotesque. That's exactly right. In terms of Barr and Durham, look, I would say that we obviously know that things are happening. What they're doing, in my speculation, or certainly my knowledge of how this whole system has operated from really day one, I'm a little bit disappointed. I would say that, I give a lot of room, space to Bill Barr, because I think Bill Barr has he's certainly had to deal with a swampy Department of Justice, and that's very clear. There's elements inside of the Department of Justice that, my goodness, Durham, I don't know. I know that the American people are sick and tired of waiting. People are sick and tired of waiting. We know because it's been laid out in spades by certainly members of Congress, Devin Nunes being one of them, and others, and in terms of crimes committed. So people just want to make sure that our government is also taking care of itself in terms of accountability, and that's not the case. Yep. And the Durham situation is just a big part of that right now, and people are tired of it.